Welcome to The Reset. I am your host, Andre Clay. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing some live coverage of President Joe Biden's address to the nation since exiting his campaign for presidency against Donald Trump and now endorsing Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, her name brings a whole lot of controversy with it with this run. His endorsement means that all campaign money that has been raised will be going to her. And the donor class, they haven't liked that very much. And among the voter class, especially among American descendants of slavery, there is definitely division amongst us as to whether or not we truly want to support Miss Kamala Harris. But tonight, and we will get to that in a later show, tonight we will be airing the live coverage of Biden's address to the nation. Everyone, please feel free to comment in the comments section. I will be posting your comments on screen, and I'll give a little bit of commentary as the speech goes on. Not sure about how long this speech will be, but let me get ready for it and go here. All right. Tonight's presentation we will be watching via Associated Press. Shouts out to them. And quite honestly, I want to know what everyone thinks about Kamala Harris running for president. I really want to know. With her brings the racial, or rather lineage, question into play. Her past record comes into play as Attorney General in the state of California. I think that when she first started, that was the main issue as to why when she ran for president the first time during the primaries, she had to drop out. She just flat out did not have enough support, not even from her home state. But I see the presidential seal is here, and they should be getting ready to start pretty soon. And here we go.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits of extraordinary American presidents. Thomas Jefferson wrote the immortal words that guide this nation. George Washington, who showed us presidents are not kings. Abraham Lincoln, who implored us to reject malice. Franklin Roosevelt, who inspired us to reject fear. I revere this office, but I love my country more. It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. But in the defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think it's more important than any title. I draw strength and I find joy in working for the American people. But this sacred task of perfecting our union is not about me. It's about you, your families, your futures. It's about we, the people. And we can never forget that. And I never have. I've made it clear that I believe America is at an inflection point. One of those rare moments in history when the decisions we make now will determine our fate of our nation and the world for decades to come. America's going to have to choose between moving forward or backward, between hope and hate, between unity and division. We have to decide, do we still believe in honesty, decency, respect, freedom, justice, and democracy? In this moment, we can see those we disagree with not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. Can we do that? Does character in public life still matter? I believe I know the answer to these questions because I know you, the American people. And I know this: we are a great nation because we are good people. When you elected me to this office, I promised to always level with you, to tell you the truth. And the truth The sacred cause of this country is larger than any one of us. And those of us who cherish that cause cherish it so much. A cause of American democracy itself must unite to protect it. You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me that I need to unite my party in this critical endeavor. I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merit a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation. You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. But there's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now. Over the next 6 months, I'll be focused on doing my job as president. That means I'll continue to lower costs for hardworking families, grow our economy. I'll keep defending our personal freedoms and our civil rights, from the right to vote to the right to choose. I'll keep calling out hate and extremism. Make it clear there is no place in America for political violence or any violence ever, period. I'm going to keep speaking out to protect our kids from gun violence, our planet from climate crisis that is the existential threat. And I will keep fighting for my cancer moonshot so we can end cancer as we know it, because we can do it. And I'm going to call for Supreme Court reform because this is critical to our democracy, Supreme Court reform. You know, I will keep working to ensure America remains strong and secure and the leader of the free world. I'm the first president in this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world. We'll keep rallying a coalition of proud nations to stop Putin from taking over Ukraine and doing more damage. We'll keep NATO stronger, and I'll make it more powerful and more united than any time in all of our history. I'll keep doing the same for our allies in the Pacific. You know, when I came to office, the conventional wisdom was that China would inevitably surpass the United States. That's not the case anymore. And I'm going to keep working to end the war in Gaza, bring home all the hostages, and bring peace and security to the Middle East and end this war. We're also working around the clock to bring home Americans being unjustly detained all around the world. You know, we've come so far since my inauguration. On that day, I told you, as I stood in that winter, we stood in a winter of peril and a winter of possibilities. Peril and possibilities. We were in the grip of the worst pandemic in the century, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. But we came together as Americans, and we got through it. We emerged stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. Today, we have the strongest economy in the world, creating nearly 16 million new jobs, a record. Wages are up. Inflation continues to come down. The racial wealth gap is the lowest it's been in 20 years. We're literally rebuilding our entire nation, urban, suburban, rural, and tribal communities. Manufacturing has come back to America. We're leading the world again in chips and science and innovation. We finally beat Big Pharma after all these years to lower the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. And I'm going to keep fighting to make sure we lower the cost for everyone, not just seniors. More people have health care today in America than ever before. And I signed one of the most significant laws helping millions of veterans and their families who were exposed to toxic materials. You know, the most significant climate law ever in the history of the world. The first major gun safety law in 30 years. And today, the violent crime rate is at a 50-year low. We're also securing our border. Border crossings are lower today than when the previous administration left office. I've kept my commitment to appoint the first black woman to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. I also kept my commitment to have an administration that looks like America and be a president for all Americans. That's what I've done. I ran for president 4 years ago because I believed and still do that the soul of America was at stake. The very nature of who we are was at stake. And that's still the case. America's an idea. An idea stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It's the most powerful idea in the history of the world. That idea is that we hold these truths to be self-evident. We're all created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We've never fully lived up to it, to this sacred idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I do not believe the American people will walk away from it now. In just a few months, the American people will choose the course of America's future. I made my choice. I've made my views known. I would like to thank our great Vice President Kamala Harris. She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable. She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country. Now the choice is up to you, the American people. When you make that choice, remember the words of Benjamin Franklin that's hanging on my wall here in the Oval Office, alongside the busts of Dr. King and Rosa Parks and Cesar Chavez. When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, whether the founders had given America a monarchy or republic, Franklin's response was, a republic, if you can keep it. A republic, if you can keep it. Whether we keep our republic is now in your hands. My fellow Americans, it's been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years. Nowhere else on earth could a kid with a stutter from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, one day sit behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. But here I am. That's what's so special about America. We're a nation of promise and possibilities, of dreamers and doers, of ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. I've given my heart and my soul to our nation, like so many others. I've been blessed a million times in return with the love and support of the American people. I hope you have some idea how grateful I am to all of you. The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not rule, the people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. We just have to keep faith, keep the faith, and remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together, preserve our democracy. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Well, there it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. If I must say so myself, that was very presidential. What are your thoughts about the president's last speech there? What are your thoughts? It seems to me, hold on a second, let me make sure I can turn this off. There we go. Yeah, what are your thoughts, everybody, about what we just heard from the president? I thought that we also saw the platform that presidential nominee Kamala Harris will be using for her run to the White House. We saw him mention gun control, fighting for some type of gun reform, Also, I think that President Biden showed a lot of dignity. I thought he was very humble. It took a lot for him to come in front of the nation and address the nation and bow out gracefully. And I think that regardless of what your lean is politically, you have to respect that. You have to respect him for bowing out so graciously and for extending such a strong endorsement to the VP, Kamala Harris. Now, Trump and those on the right, you are not ready for this. You did not plan for this. The nation didn't see this coming, but you got a lot of work to do. Because, see, Kamala Harris brings an obstacle your way that you did not anticipate. Because, see, the Trump campaign, the Trump organization, they know how to compete against another white man. They know how to compete against a white woman. They know how because they are white. But in this instance, you not only have a person of color, but you have a woman, and you don't know what to do with that. Today, we saw the torch passed to what may likely become the first black female president of the United States of America. Kamala brings a set of issues that are very attractive to the American public. She wants to reinstate women's choice legislation, and she wants to instate some type of gun reform, very attractive policies to a lot of people, especially to women, even conservative women. She poses a big threat to the right because she can peel away a lot of those conservative women who believe in having autonomy for their bodies. And any woman that wouldn't want that for themselves, I question her sanity, me personally. But also, Kamala brings with her a background of diversity which would be attractive to the immigrant class. She herself is a natural-born citizen, while her parents were legalized immigrants. She may serve as an example to those who keep trying to come here to this country illegally. And hopefully she will do more to reform the immigration policies, or help to influence reform of the immigration policies, the better the American people, as it helps those who qualify to be in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, we definitely see a change in the direction America can potentially go. Now, myself, I don't personally support Kamala Harris, mostly because I view her as cosplaying African American culture, quite honestly. It doesn't mean that she is unqualified for this position, because I believe she is the most qualified of all the Democrats that may want to run, despite what the donor class believes. I don't like her past record as well as chief prosecutor in the state of California. See, oftentimes we, as American descendants of slavery, when we put forth the support behind a candidate, behind a politician, we do so in hopes that that black person understands the plight of American descendants of slavery and would be an advocate for policy prescriptions that would help us. But time and time again, we see many of our brothers and sisters, whether they're on the left or the right, fall in line with the established agendas by each side of the political aisle. And nothing is done to help our people. Because, see, on the left, they tend to practice a lot of benign neglect. They tend to support and get behind legislation that will say it's to help minorities, people of color. But that's not American descendants of slavery. We need specific legislation that helps our people. You know, one tide lift all boats policies, it just hasn't helped us as a collective. And then you have the right, who offer no assistance to us at all. At best, all they can say is the left is so bad, so what do you have to lose? They got nerve enough to tout out black conservatives who, since Kamala has entered the race, ironically go out of their ways to post and comment about how she isn't black enough, when the black conservative wrote the blueprint on how to be a coon. And we all know this. No one divorces black culture better than the black conservative. They don't adhere, they don't embrace, they truly do not get involved with black culture. They criticize it every chance they can. They demonize it every chance they can. Very, very few times do I ever hear them say anything positive about American descendants of slavery. Very few times. But back to Kamala, she is what the left hopes will be able to save democracy. Although the Democrats themselves are guilty of keeping democracy from the American people when they decided to not primary Joe Biden. Because truth be told, had they done that, we would not be in this situation today. The American people would have had a chance to choose from an array of potential Democratic presidential candidates, but that right was taken away. So again, we are here being asked to support, get behind, and vote for someone we did not choose. We did not choose. We have no choice because, honestly, Kamala Harris is the very best candidate that the Democrats have in beating Donald Trump. Donald Trump has a lot of support, but I don't believe Donald Trump has it together as well as the right would have us believe they do. Hopefully in the next few months, the Harris campaign will just skyrocket because we've already seen she's been able to raise over $100 million in less than 48 hours. That's amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. President Joe Biden's bowed out the race, endorses Kamala Harris. There's a lot to be done. Project 2025 is out there. It is real. And I think that despite what we feel about Kamala Harris, it is imperative that I believe those of us who are American descendants of slavery, foundational black Americans, whichever title you want to give yourself, if you actually take the time to really read Project 2025, you would easily see it does not just be a detriment to black America, but it can potentially legislate us back to the days of Jim Crow. Now, that's not a boogeyman tactic. That's not a statement just to scare you. You do have to read some of this document for yourselves before you decide that, oh, it's no big deal. It's nothing to really consider. It is. It really, truly is. Done a past show about it. Had a gentleman on that broadcast who used to be a black conservative and is very familiar with the Heritage Foundation. our liberties are at stake, but the Democrats, you don't do well in helping to maintain that. You cannot decide to not primary Joe Biden and then at the same time tell the American people that we have to save democracy when you stepped all over it when you did that. Let's just be honest here. And as far as the heritage, the lineage, the race of Kamala Harris, when it comes down to American descendants of slavery, it's really not about race. It really is about lineage. The fact is, she is not an American descendant of slavery, just like Barack Hussein Obama. And when we have political atmospheres where we have those who are not representing and speaking on behalf of American descendants of slavery, we oftentimes see us not represented well. We oftentimes see us continue to be neglected because those flat black politicians, they just follow the status quo of the parties that they are members of. Black Americans, those of us who are descendants of those in chattel slavery, continue to be ignored, continue to be left behind. Reparations is due. Not sure if Kamala Harris is going to be on board with that, although I do know that she is a co-sponsor of H.R. 40. I think that as leverage, one of the things that American descendants of slavery need to be asking for is her full implementation of the task force needed to begin the study, the federal study for reparations for American descendants of slavery. I think that as leverage, we should demand of her criminal justice reform, the George Floyd Act, among other things, that she could do being the executive officer of the United States of America. Because, see, the Supreme Court made the executive branch a little bit more powerful. And if she's able to win, that victory that Trump thought he was going to be able to take advantage of will not be there for him, and instead be in the hands of a sister. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out for tonight. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys another day. Good night.